Okay, let's continue with this one. I don't think we will have enough time to implement this in our today's session. So we will get into the implementation part tomorrow morning. Okay, so let's see the concept part, and implementation part will continue tomorrow. Okay, here option menu means what we will have in our app bar. So you'll have at the very top of your app by default. Here you can see this, and here this one is the app bar. So what we call the name of the app or the name of the activity will be appear. So in this app bar, we can implement different option menu or context menu, whatever you like. So you can also name the activity name for this app bar. So in this also we can implement this option menu that will appear with some 3 dots or also some slash, so that you can get to pop up the dialog for setting related thing, so that you can implement different kinds of action you want. If you want to go to another activity, you can do some text here, favorites or contacts or any other setting related thing, so you can implement that one in your action bar. So option menu is this one. So whenever you click on your this 3 dot icon, it will pop up some text message for you here. And this one is also implemented by using menu attribute, by using menu resource directory in your XML. Instead of using the layout, we use menu here. So this is it will appear at the right corner of the app, and also it will navigate to other activities and editing, app setting, or related things. So these are the ways we use this kind of option menu in our app. So we don't use them for other purpose. It's just for some setting related thing and for editing and to open up another activity, to navigate to another activity. Okay, so let's see how we can implement the option menu in our Android app in the concept. So first we have to create a menu resource. So instead of going to the option menu will not be included in our activity. Instead, it will include it in the menu folder here. Let's go to this one. So in your resource folder, instead of implementing the layout in this resource layout folder, what you have to do is you go to here and right click, and you have to create Android resource directory for menu. So you click on this, and here you don't need to type anything here. So it will pop up the resource type, what kind of resource you want to create. So here we already have drawable, layout, map, and value. So now we need what? We need menu. So we want to implement option menu in our menu. So here you choose a menu directory, and you can just click OK. So now here you can get our menu folder here. So now we can create a new and menu resource file inside this. And now then once we are done with this, you can implement our code inside. Okay, so once we create XML menu resource, what you call a menu main XML, so whatever the file name you want, and the next thing is, once you create your menu inside this file, and you have to implement onCreate option menu method inside your activity to implement that specific menu you created in your XML. So what it means is it will attach the specific menu you created in your menu resource file. It will attach it to your activity, so that will appear in our app. And you can also now select the on option item selected, which means whenever the options were like these favorites and contact will appear in this option list when you implement the method called onCreate option menu. So when you implement this method and implement that specific menu you created to this activity, it will appear in our this list. And when you want to also implement additional one, to when the button were clicked, I mean when the list of these values were clicked, you have to implement this on option item select, and it will redirect you to the method that you created to handle that item click. So that's the method. If you want to go to another method when those one of those options were selected, you have to implement this method inside your activity too. So you have an XML of menu, and you attach that XML with our this XML contains this kind of option menu, and this will appear in our app when you create this on create option menu, and you inflate that specific menu with our activity. And once this will appear in our app, you also can implement on-click attribute for this each attribute for each element of this menu. And the thing that needed from you is to implement on option item selected, and you may have another method to call. You can implement that method if you want. If you don't, you can just post some message inside here. So I don't think we will have time to implement this one for today, and we will continue with tomorrow's session with this implementation. But we will continue with what the data will be in our layout, in our menu here. So the same way item. So Simon will use this item attribute in the challenge part, in the day 2 challenge part. So here the attribute, you gave it to some ID, and you set the title name and whatever you want. So this is the item inside your layout, inside your menu you use. So you will have two menu items here, setting and favorite. So we can identify these two items here, and with the title, setting, and favorite. Once we create our menu inside our menu folder, the next thing is to implement on create option menu. This is in our main activity. So this is the menu by default we use in our activity. We just inflate that specific menu, which found in R resource file dot menu folder, and the name of the menu, and the object of the menu here. So here we create object menu, and we now menu past that menu, and now these two menu will appear in our action bar, in our app action bar. So this is a way to attach our menu file to our. Once we attach this menu, those two items, but there will no an action for that specific menu. So to implement an action, we have to on action and select option with the method that we create. So you may have a method for if you think a list, so it will go to the show setting method. If you already created this method, so it will go to this method. Same way for the favorites. So the way to option menu. So let's see the contextual menu. Okay, contextual menu. What makes differ from the option menu is this one can be perform an action with some view. So it will not appear in the app bar. So at the very top of the app, it will come up with some any kind of view that you want to attach with. So most often it will the items for like recycling view. I think we will get into this tomorrow, and also grid view or other view collection. So this contextual menu will appear with one of these view. So this is what makes differ from the option menu. So as here you can see this does something, maybe you can call it list view or recycler view. So from this view, a context menu will appear when you maybe long press on one of this view, one of this name list. So it will appear the contextual menu here, like if you want to edit or to share or to copy, to paste or something stuff. So this kind of menu were called contextual menu. So you may want to edit some text from the list, or you may want to share some data of this list. So this kind of pop-up list of options were called contextual menu. So it come up with any kind of view, and also you can modify this view and use it in your style. And also you can perform some action for that specific view where click at a time. So to implement this context menu, the first thing is the same way we create XML menu resource file, and you can assign different appearance and position for that menu attributes. And once we are done with this, the same way we have to register the difference from this one is the difference one, the one difference from the option menu. Here we have to register our view. So for what view we want to register this context menu, since context menu go with the view, right? So it will pop up with some view. So here the context menu pop up with some list view here. So for now, we have to register inside the list view. Here we are using list view, so this pop-up menu or this context menu will appear with this list view. So don't forget to register the view using the method called register for context menu. Once we are done with this registration, the next thing is the same with the option menu. So we just implement on create a context menu and to attach or to inflate that menu we created in our menu folder. Once we are done with this, it will appear in our app layout, in our app user interface, but it will not do any action for us. So since we didn't implement on context item selected, so we have to do this to handle the menu item we click. So once we are done with this, just you can implement to the method to perform an action for each context menu. So also you can just put some message when one of these items we click. These are some example parts. So you just create a menu resource. So the same way we did inside this folder. So you have to create new and menu resource file. So once you are done with creating that file, you just type this item list, whatever you want. So also there is a way like to order categories. So which one will come first and which one you want to be next. So there is an attribute called ordering category. So the small value will be at the very top, the larger value will set it at the bottom. So you can set the order in category attributes to any integer value, and you set the title for each. If you want to edit, to share, or to different things, you set these items in your menu resource file. Once you are done with this, the next thing is to register this view to our to register this menu to with our view. So to do that, you just specify the view what we have in our layout file. We identify that view, and this the method what we call register for context menu. So we register this menu with our view here we created, the object of the text view. So once we are done, so the next thing is we attach our context view to our layout, to our app layout. Here we use the inflator object, so it will attach this specific layout with our view. So this is the way to attach the menu what we created with our activity one what we have currently now. Once we are done with this, we just this one is not necessary, but if you want, you can do to if one of the options were clicked from those like edit or share or any list view of our menu, you can implement this on context item were selected. This is an event handler. So we just create this one, and when the first one edit button were clicked, we not say like button, it's an item. So edit item were clicked, it will go to the edit note method if you have a method that we created for this. And if you don't, you just can post a message, edit text will be clicked, something like that. And also you can implement for if the share context share were clicked, you can also go to this share note method if you have. If you don't, you can just post some message or something like that. So this is the way to implement these two stuff. So this one we already seen dialog. So how you can do this dialog, alert dialog. Also you can go with date time picker, or if you this is the date picker. So when the user click, so the date will appear for him, and also when the button will click, time will appear here. So you can also implement the same way with alert dialog. So we just only use the class of time picker dialog and date picker dialog. So instead we use alert dialog for the alert dialog what we implemented here. So the same way you can use alert dialog here we used, but you also can use this time picker and also date picker dialog if you want to implement those stuff. So this is I think that's we already done with this. So you implement alert dialog with some title and content area, and also action, whatever you want, agree or close or yes or continue or something stuff. And this is I think we just already done this, right? So we implement on click for those dialog, and we set the title and set the message. We have done this in our practice part. So this is the set positive and set negative button. Also you can have set neutral, but we don't frequently use this one. And we use these two buttons and we implement whatever the action inside. The same way here. So okay, if the button is okay, we clicked, you can user can do some task here inside this method. So this, I think, for all today. I don't think we will have enough time to cover this option menu and context menu in the practice part. I think it will take more time, so we'll get into that in our tomorrow's session at the very beginning of tomorrow's task. If you have any question, also you can ask in the discussion box. If you don't, we can stop our meeting here. Thanks so much.